Here we are with Miss Helen Andrews. Helen, this is a project to find out what life was like in the Trickham area about a few years ago, ever how many you want to go back to. So tell me what your first memory is of coming down to Trickham or Cedar Grove.
Coming down to where?
To Trickham.
To Trickham. Oh. Well, I saw Demery Bell. I thought he was the best looking thing I ever saw.
Where did your family move into?
A mess.
Into a mess.
What did we move into? We moved in a house there that wasn't when we built the house. When the house that Miss Shackles built, was it? Where we moved to first? Up in the holler?
Yeah, up in that house.
Over across the creek on the big story house, big stone house. And what was their name that had it?
No, it was, it was a sawmill shack, that Mom and Daddy moved into Christmas when we lived there on the side of the hill. And come an ice storm, and we had to sit down and slide across the foot log to get across the creek.
Where was that house located?
That's pretty.
It's so pretty. I wish
Across the creek and up there by the spring, going up to the at Maybell's place, where that is.
These fine folks are children of John R. Smith and Ollie Beatty Smith. Moved to the Macklemore Cove area in late 1935 or early 36. Yeah. This is Dennis, their oldest child, who actually did not move there, but went into the Army to play baseball. Is that right?
Yeah, among other things.
Among other things. This lady is Benny Smith Everett Cordell. Came to the Cove in
spring of 1936.
And what house did you move into?
The same one, the one on the hill.
The one on the hill, okay.
The sawmill house. Didn't we move to Trickham and live in that great big old house there by Junior Kaiser's house, where the little house was, the little white house. We lived in a big old house that had a porch around it.
Yeah, but was it?
And then we moved back and lived in the old Rogers house. Theodore Denton called it Trickham College. And so Jackie and I graduated together.
Okay. Who were some of the teachers and principals and people that were?
The ones that lived in the area was Miss Annie Simmons. She taught there the year we graduated. And the year before we graduated. She was there 2 years. And Susie Bird taught in the grammar school. Bernie Zebbitt taught. And we had several teachers from different places that would come in and board down with Miss Shankles down at the foot of the hill that were not, in the community. And then a Mr. Brown came. And then we had a Mr. Davis was there when we graduated.
I was up there.
Who did you marry and where did you meet him?
Roland Andrews. We married an old doctor down in Chattanooga Valley, and what was that old doctor's name? We wanted I met Roland at a square dance up on Howjo Road, and was there an Anderson up there that had parties? Was there? And that's where the first time I'd seen Roland was at a square dance. And somehow he got acquainted with Mr. Trotter, who owned a farm down at Davis Crossroads. And he moved there and took over that farm, and Dad and Mama moved with us. And Helga was born there in 1943. I'll never forget that day. She was having a baby. Roland and Dad were in the cornfield, and Mr. Trotter brought her daughter out for dinner. So we had a big day.
Well, you taught at Cedar Grove.
Yeah, well, I taught at Cedar Grove 2 full years. That was the year Dwayne started, and what years would that have been? 36?
46.
35, 36 maybe, then did. Good guess.
Yeah, what kind of building did Cedar Grove have then?
Cedar Grove had the old wooden building and the 2 rooms upstairs, those steep steps to go up, and hot in the summertime. Oh, I couldn't stand it now. I really couldn't, but it was terribly hot. Bernie Savage taught on one side and I taught on the other side. And each of us had 4 grades. And I'd get out and play ball with the kids. I was young then, and they liked me to be their teacher because I'd take them out and play ball, you know. But Bernie's just too stubborn to do things like that. She didn't do anything with her. They didn't like her like they did me.
Tell me about the churches that were here when y'all were growing up.
What's that?
The churches.
Oh, I was a Methodist. I think Minnie's one of those Methodists. So
I didn't join the church until Jack was
we went to
elected,
the
but
Antioch a lot. They had church was going there better than it had been, you know. And then it died down, and now it's better than it ever was, isn't it?
we used to walk, you know, from up in the holler, we called it, walk down to Antioch and had church, and then we'd go to the Methodist church when they had church. And Betty Rose and I was talking about the other night, we'd go to the League and the big YPU. They had a little church over where the crosses live named Liberty. It's Mount Herman now. And we used to go over there.
I didn't know that. Okay, let's talk about sports at Cedar Grove High School.
We had a softball team, and we had a basketball team. We played on the outdoor court, and we could whip the socks off the Chickamauga and Lafayette both.
Yay!
I even got an offer from both schools that if I could get away over there, they'd like to have me come to school and play ball for them.
Oh, another thing that never changes.
Left early and walked.
They could. They tried to arrange for me to ride with the Heises, you know, they worked over in Lafayette. And then we had a softball team, and we traveled over the county. And the year that I graduated, we went to Rome in a basketball tournament for non-accredited high schools, and we won the tournament.
All right.
And then talking about what we did for fun when we was during those high school years, we used to walk to Mountain Cove Farm just to get out, and we'd walk that 3 to 4 or 5 miles, and gather up around there, and then we'd climb the mountain. We have had as many as 25 or 30 kids gather up at our house
Behind their house.
at the Rogers place, and we'd climb the mountain, and then we'd come down in time to go to church, and in time for me to milk the cow, and JP would stand out in the pasture while I milked the cow.
Who were your neighbors back in the holler?
Well, Mr. and Miss Martin lived up above us, Ken's mother and daddy.
Oh, they knew.
Lived up above us, and she put dinner on the table. You remember Miss Martin put dinner on the table that day, and her husband had turnip greens and something else, and he come to the table and fussed about them, and so she picked up the turnip greens and threw them out the window.
Any other stories of people getting hurt or helped?
I can't think of anybody. Can you right now?
Nothing except before we moved down there, Hugh Shankles shot his brother. So,
Yeah, that was the news then. That was the long.
it happened right before we moved down there. Junior and senior, I worked under the youth program, a government program, and I janited the school for $4 a month the first year and $8 a month the second year.
You know how we used to make cookies and have things at the church and make money? And we'd have
Pies,
candy and
have
pies
pie
and
suppers.
everything. And I remember one time, Eva Hunter was flirting around. We had some celebrity that come out, you know, somebody like Grandpa Jones or something like that. And Eva flirted around him for all evening, trying to get his attention, you know, Eva. And so he finally got tired of it, and he said, you know, you remind me a lot of my mother.
We're going to visit a little while with Bernice Evett and Lucille Simmons Crowder this afternoon. Bernice, you were telling us about where your family first lived.
The only thing I can remember about living at Wheeler Place was our dog. Papa would hitch him up to the wagon. He made some harnesses for our dog, and he put Mac and George and I in the wagon, and we'd ride. That's the way we were. It was just about 18 months difference in each of our ages. My two brothers. And our house We lived in that old house until that was 1914 when we moved there. And we lived in that old house till in 1924. That was the barnyard where we built our house.
One of your relatives was a doctor in the community?
Yes,
Go ahead and tell
my
us about him.
grandfather came here from Virginia, and he stopped after he had finished, and stopped over at the farm, over on near the over on the other Hogjaw Road. And they didn't have a doctor here at that time, and they hadn't had one, but when he walked up, the men were having a holiday shoot, just to play, just for the occasion. And a horse was shot in the foot, and they didn't have a doctor just at that time. And so when my grandfather came, he was a doctor, and he removed the bullet. And they wanted him then to stay in the community and be the doctor. But he said, well, right now, he was just through school, and he didn't have enough money saved to start out, but he would, later on, he liked the place so well that he would like to come back. But they told him what they would do. One said, now, my house is a big house. You can stay with us. We have plenty of room. And another man spoke up and said, yes, and I have enough money saved that I can let you use that too until you get started.
That was the wheeler that owned the wheels. How come it be called Wheeler Place? They lived there, the wheelers did, that offered to take him in and to keep him. And that was in the 1800s.
Right.
Well,
Right.
I can remember hearing Miss Simmons tell about the war, how they would hide their animals in the ditches and keep them from killing them and taking them.
During the
And-
Civil War.
Civil War.
Civil War.
Wow.
And they would, well, that's what they do. And they had, I've heard Grandma tell so many times about the cook and the different ones they had, and said that every time anybody came by, they always fixed them a meal. The soldiers would come through. And so one little fella, people didn't have flour very much and things like that. They just didn't have it. And anyway, they'd gotten some good flour. And one of the soldiers came through, and and they had been having a few biscuits, from that. But one little boy came through, a little black boy came in, and he knew they'd had biscuit before. And he said, well, just give me a biscuit. And the cook just pretended she didn't hear him because his soldier was sitting there. She was afraid if they heard it, they'd take the flour, the soldier would. And so the soldier just ate on. He was a young soldier. And the little boy says, give me a biscuit. And he just kept on saying it. And after a while, he says, if you'll just give me a tater, I won't ask for anything else. They were told they had slaves, in their home, and people working for them. And they had a choice. They could pay them for working for them, or they could let them go free, whatever they wanted to do. Well, they debated what to do, and they kept a few, but not many. And so a lot of them were leaving. And before they left, my people fixed them a good lunch, fixed them some meal. Of course, they were walking, the ones leaving. And she fixed a good meal and fixed it for them and got them some clothes and packed those and gave them a little money to leave because they were walking. That was the only way they could leave.
Did you ever hear any of the stories about the Captain Wood?
Do you ever remember Mary Lou Camp? Her husband? It was their kid.
Yeah.
And so she had two uncles that were doctors, Jim and Frank.
These doctors. Their father was a school teacher, and do you know where the Gordon Hall is in Lafayette? He was the last teacher in that Gordon Hall there. Before he moved over, he bought the farm up there where George D. lived. And there, Captain Woods moved, and he was school teacher. I don't know how long, do
He
you?
taught a long time, I don't know.
But he had
And his wife taught too.
he had 3 daughters, Miss Roberta, Miss Mary Lou, and Miss Mattie. And he had 3 sons, Dr. Frank, Dr. Jim, and what was that other one? They had died at the, down
A
at,
younger one. He was a younger one.
yeah.
What can you remember being there in Trickham? There was,
I remember most was the upstairs. Mr. Shank goes to the store across the creek.
Yeah.
It was a house built across the creek. The creek ran under, and
Oh.
and
went in
that,
one
that
side.
was on this side, wasn't it?
Uh-huh.
On the,
There next to the bell pump.
next to you, Mamie's.
okay, on the same side that the store is today.
And Uncle Oates and Mr. Baron Kells was across the road from that.
Okay, there
Next
was.
to the
another-
woods.
Next to the woods, okay. I knew there was another one somewhere.
And it used to be a clothing store upstairs.
Wow.
And then they had the groceries and everything downstairs. And when it came, honey, we used to have water when it rained. It'd get up in those stores. And that creek, it couldn't all go under that store. And it just go down the road and wash the road out. And there used to be a steep hill. And then it was torn down after the shooting, and Charlie was killed. And
Okay, now what about that? We don't know that story
No,
either.
we don't.
you don't have that. You tell that story. I don't.
This has been so long since I thought about it, but I know all about it, but it's hard to tell.
Well, it was a family feud.
But it was between the 2 brothers, wasn't it?
Yeah, between the 2 brothers.
Hugh and Charlie.
Of who?
Hugh
Hugh
was
Camp
the one
and
who had
Charlie
the
Camp.
store, and Charlie had the farm.
Now, was Hugh Camp's store kind of new then? Was it a?
No, it was more Simmons and Kell store.
It was.
And then later on, they built the one across from there,
Mhm.
on down below Mary Lou's house.
Okay,
Now that's right, Ernestine.
and it's the one that's Cedar Grove Grocery now.
Where did
Okay.
the shooting take place?
Well, it took place, I don't know.
Well,
The shooting took place between.
Was it up there at one of those
Was it at his
houses?
house?
the shooting took place it was a little chicken house out the side of he was in the chicken house, and Charlie was coming in. It was a little trail in the by going towards Hugh's house.
Was that up close to the corners?
Huh?
Was that up close to the corners where
Yeah.
Ann's is now?
And that's
No.
where he was shot.
No, this was down here at this house?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right
right down here.
at
at his
the-
house, yeah.
where Aunt Laura owns.
Was it,
He was put in jail, and they had trial and everything, and he came clear and all that stuff. And Miss Mamie tore the old store down and built where the in-law owns now, you know, that old the store. And
About what year was that? Put a year to it?
well, it was in the, let's say it's in the 40s.
Okay. That's
I
close
believe
enough.
that would be
That'd
right,
be
don't
more
you, Lucille?
I think it would be.
Let's do some school stories.
Go ahead.
I was
Lucille.
5 years old. We lived at the head place on Left Road. And
Now, let me clarify where the head place is. Is that,
that's where the clubhouse is. We always called our teacher Miss. And Eva Hunter was our teacher in the 1st grade. And I can see her now sitting up at her desk. It had a little platform, you know, the desk up there. And of course we were there. Eunice and Willie sat right in front of me. I think I got the back seat.
and was this called Cedar Grove School?
Cedar Grove
then?
School.
Okay.
And, well, we did just fine until I took pneumonia that year. And, well, they thought it was going into double pneumonia. so I didn't get to go to school much.
Well, my first school was the old academy. It was one that Professor Sarton. And my teacher was Neil Andrews. He became a judge, and he was a judge in Germany after the World War II, one. And I get to sit in his lap. and my next teacher was, who was my, I don't remember who my second grade and third grade teachers. My fourth grade teacher, I remember her very well because it was Miss Pearl Wallen, Miss Pearl Quinton. Did you ever know her?
Mm-mm.
Well, she belonged to Cedar Grove Church, and she married Brock Quinton, and she was one of the best leaders, wasn't she?
Oh, yes.
This is Mr. Tom Milligan. How long have you lived in the Cove?
78 years.
Just 78 years.
Yeah.
Where were you born?
Soon be 79.
Where were you born?
I was born right over in that old house.
All right. Okay. So you wanted to start?
Pardon?
Where was it you wanted to start talking to me?
Well, I guess about what I've heard about the Civil War, probably.
All right.
My granddaddy sat on the rock fence up here at Benny Crossings and watched the Yankee Army pass all day. And some of them stopped here and camped that night. And this was all in the woods then. And they killed somebody's cow and ate her. And they tell me it here's where the Battle of Chickamauga was supposed to have been. But one of the armies didn't get here in time. It must have been the Confederacy. I had two great-granddaddies in the Confederacy. One of them was a prisoner in Ohio, and they turned him loose and he walked back to Georgia. I don't know how long it took him. And my great-granddaddy on my mother's side was walking and he played out and he went in a cow barn and laid down in the trough and went to sleep. And this girl, the next morning, she went to milk the cow, and that was my great-grandmother. And Colonel Darty went to Cincinnati to federal court, and he had a personal slave. They called him Uncle Warner Lewis. And he went with him everywhere he went. And he died while he was up there. And that old nigger brought his body back on the train in his briefcase, and when they opened his briefcase, there's $40,000 in gold in it. And he never had looked in it. He died. He lived to be 106. I can remember him. He died up there and died in his sleep.
And that's the slave you can remember?
What?
The slave is the one you remember?
Uh-huh.
Wow.
I remember him. And I started to tell you why JP and me never did learn anything in school.
Yeah, okay.
JP said, let's go fishing. There's a lot of fish in that creek down there then.
Yeah.
So we went to the principal, and JP said, I want to get off, I got to go home and plant peanuts. And he turned around to me and he said, you got to plant peanuts too? And I said, yes, sir. He said, all right, y'all go on. That was the middle of the school day.
So who are some other people you went to school with?
Your mother, your daddy, and the biggest class that ever graduated at Cedar Grove. I thought there's 17, but Benny says there's 16. The first time I ever seen Benny was right out there in the road. I met her and her girlfriend in the road when she moved here. And she said she was 13. I thought she was older than that, but she said she was 13.
Yeah.
And I told her to sit down my pants, and I wouldn't turn my back on them. I waited till they went on down to the Everett's dammed up the creek and made a deep hole there. And I got in there, and Fannie Mae and all of them was in there having a big time. They didn't know I was about to drown. Then when I was a boy, if I'd had $10,000, I could bought this whole cove.
Tell me what the farming was like around here. Did you?
The mules.
Huh?
From daylight till dark. I've heard Mr. Everett hollering to his mule way after dark at night when we lived over here.
So what were some of the other crops around here?
Everybody grew some cotton
Yeah.
and some corn. Mr. Everett grows tobacco. He's the only
Yeah.
one that grows tobacco in Walker County. He hauled it all the way to Knoxville to sell it.
I said, back in the 50s when we did all the stuff down at the clubhouse, you were all part of that, weren't you?
Yeah, I've been here, except the 3.5 years I spent in the Navy. I've been here all my life.
Well, now, where'd you go in the Navy?
I went around the world, and inside that mountain over there looks better than anything I've seen.
Well, tell me about some of the other things you did to keep busy when you weren't farming.
We went frog gigging on Saturday night. Bernard Jones and me gigged 52 frogs one night. And they had a frog in that creek, man.
So, how'd you cook them?
Just cut their legs off and fry 'em. My uncle come and got me one Friday to help him finish planting corn over in the back valley. And Mr. Smith's store was down there at the end of the lane. And Fannie Mae was the clerk. And my granddaddy told him to get some side meat. And he stopped there at the store and told Fannie Mae that he wanted some side meat. She said, how much? He said, $1 worth. And she gave him the whole side of the hog for $1. And he said, how much do I owe you? He said, you worked a half a day. I said, well, I've been getting 75 cents a day. He said, well, that'd be 38 cents. And I went in there and bought more candy than I could eat for a dime. You've heard of Chief McLemore, haven't you?
Mm-hmm.
He owned all the land from the Mountain Cove farm to Cassandra. And he's buried in Burnish's yard, or under her house, I believe. And they put a
Well,
monument up down there. But
yeah,
he's
that's
not
not-
buried down there.
He's not buried where mine.
My daddy and his folks lived on Mountain Cove farm. My daddy was 4 years old, and he slipped off from home and went up there to the school, him and his dog. And he was entertaining the students, and the teacher told his brother to take him home. He was disrupting the school.
What's the biggest change happening here in the Cove?
Well, on New Year's Day, 1900, Jerome Henson killed Tom Jones down at the store.
The same Henson that lived over back of
Brother
us?
to him,
All right.
brother to Frank Henson. And they get, Tom Jones hit him with a mattock handle and busted his skull. And he followed him out to the other store and killed him with a .45. And they tried him and gave him a life sentence. And some men went at night and turned him out of jail, and then never did catch him no more. He left this country.
Wow, that's pretty
You wanna know
exciting.
what the biggest changes you've seen made?
Biggest what?
Changes made in the
I
Cove.
guess when they paved the road, I don't know. Yeah, I got another one I want to tell you.
All right.
There's no man lived up here where Jimmy Underwood lived, named City Cove Pence. You've heard of him, I guess. After I got out of the Navy, he come down one Sunday morning and wanted my dad to take him to Kinston to Dr. Hunter. Said he was feeling bad. So Dr. Hunter opened his office and got a bottle of double cold bottle out of that basket there, and made a funnel out of a piece of magazine, and he poured some powders in a bottle, and then he poured some liquid in there, and he put a stopper in. He says, now take this twice a day and keep your bowels open. He said, what do I owe you, doctor? And he said, $1.
Wow.